Welcome back to Queen Flow. If you are new to business, if you feel like money in your business is inconsistent, if you feel like money is hard in your business, you are going to love today's episode with my client, Alexa. And we are really diving into how joining the revolution and optimizing her business inside my membership mastermind, The Revolution, has wildly changed the results that she's having in her company. She is going to be going through with you everything that wasn't working before and what shifted in order for her to very recently celebrate. Look at my ruffles. They're balanced enough. Okay. For her to very recently celebrate her first 5K cash week inside her company, which was huge because, like you may be able to identify with, this was not Alexa's first rodeo. She'd been at this for quote unquote a long time, but really did not have the offer, the messaging, the sales strategies, the thought leadership in place for her audience to not just like her, but want to buy from her. And so what she was experiencing was a lot of the like, oh my God, Alexa, you're so amazing. Like, she has all these moms in her community. And every time they run into her, they'd be like, oh my God, I just get so much from talking to you. Very much creating that feeling of like, when just everyone's telling you how great you are, but you want to get paid. And it can lead to a lot of frustration. And so if that is happening to you, if that is your current experience, it's okay. There is a solution. Join the revolution. I've just seen this so many times where women were not making, I have like 3 other clients who come to mind just off the top of my head. They were not making money in their businesses until they joined this space. And one of the reasons why is that like, I don't just have you doing cookie cutter things that could quote unquote apply to anybody. So I teach you the strategies, but very importantly, how to optimize them for you. And then also recognizing my audience is all like awake spiritual humans who have this part of us where we have to do things our way and we're going to thrive doing things our way. But we want it to be meaning like with your tone, your language, what feels good to you. But we also need to make it strategic so that it actually monetizes, right? There's a huge difference between just following your intuition and making money, as you've likely seen, especially when we talk about consistent money. So if you like this episode, please, and just if you want to learn business from me, period, if you've been watching, you've been listening, maybe you've been in some of my other offers, but you haven't taken the plunge to come be with me inside mentorship, then you are going to want to join the revolution, especially because on June 24th, we kick off Category of One. Category of One is my 6-week mastermind for you to optimize your business, to be the only one your luxury clients see. So you may have heard me say before, when I say luxury client, I don't mean who has the most money in the bank. I'm talking about that person who invests in themselves powerfully, who sees something and moves. If they don't have the money easily, they go out and resource it, but they don't stay in that position of like, money's hard right now. I'm just going to like buy the cheapest thing and like hope to have the wildest transformation. Like these are people who will really do what it takes in order to get in the room to evolve. And then of course, people who are, see themselves as powerful no matter where they are in their journey. Because when people see themselves as powerful, it's a lot less work for you to have them come into your world. But a lot of times we mistakenly market to people who don't see themselves as powerful, right? Or we mistakenly market to people who aren't actually ready to move. And we want to change this. So what we're going to be doing inside Category of One is teaching you how to create buyer certainty. So I actually shared a post on social media yesterday and I was like, this is so crazy. But it makes sense for how I've optimized the company. I was like, people don't really DM me anymore. Not really. Like, unless it's about, like I'm sharing a life thing, there's like a funny moment, whatever. But in terms of working together, my clients in 2025 just buy. Now, with the exception, for example, one client comes to mind where she reached out to me about a $40,000 investment. And she was just wanting to confirm that I felt she was a good fit for the space. I sent her that she wanted the link. I paid the same day. This makes sense. The woman's getting ready to invest $40,000, right? She just wants to make, and we've never actually spoken before. She'd only been in my world in low ticket, right? So she's making sure that it makes sense. Outside of that, and maybe a couple other questions, what is happening now in my business is people just buy. Right? Sometimes I might hear from someone like, if you guys have a credit and you want to upgrade it, but even 99.9% of those go through my team. Right? And it's not that now my team's getting all the questions, because I have access to our assistant email and they don't either. People just email to upgrade, right? Or for like, normal businessy customer servicey things. And which we also don't have a ton of those, which I really like, because it means I'm really like optimize information flow for people, which is like customer service, that efficiency inside the business for the client is like very important to me. But anyhow, on the sales front, I was like, wow, this is the first year that, I always had clients who are moving powerfully. Obviously, I've made a lot of money, so people are moving. However, this is the first year where I'm like, wow, I am giving people what they need to have that certainty within themselves without being like, you need to have certainty within yourself to invest, right? Like, that's not how we create buyer certainty. You can't just like cheer people along like they don't need a mom. That's not how you speak to luxury buyers. Right? I was like, I've created that buyer certainty, so people are just moving. And even when I think about my highest ticket spaces, it's not like 14 paragraphs about should they, do I think it's the right time? I don't know. They invested with these people before, blah, nobody cares. This doesn't matter. You had a few bad investments, like welcome to entrepreneurship, moving it the along, right? Like, not, you guys know, that texture of that person who's basically like in your DMs. They're not actually, what they're doing and they don't realize is they are unconsciously looking for reasons not to move. But by engaging with you, it makes them feel like they're doing their due diligence and moving forward, but they're actually not going anywhere. I've seen this so many times. Like, I can sniff it out from the first message. Have you guys not received these messages? That person is not going to do anything no matter what you say, but they're so busy lying to themselves in life that they think they're like moving towards some type of destination and they're actually going nowhere. They're just wasting your time lying to themselves. Like, we don't have time for this. And also, if you have a legitimate question, like, don't be afraid to ask me or ask my team. I'm totally open for questions. As you would see, I say often in my emails, often on my posts, like, hey, shoot me a message if you have a question. But what is happening now is I've created so much buyer certainty in the business, people don't really have them. They are just led to buy. And doesn't this make sense? So for example, let's say think about a very large brand, like a Gabby Bernstein. Would you guys be messaging Gabby Bernstein about her $2,000 offer or her 6-week mastermind with 10,000 questions, wondering if you should, oh my God, you've invested before? No, you would just pay for it, right? You would just pay for it. So when I think about big brand energy, do we think that for Tony Robbins events that everyone's like, I don't know, do you think this is good for me? Blah, blah. They're like, no, I'm going. I'm going. So what is inside large brands, right? I don't message Revolve and be like, do you think this is going to fit me? It'll fit or it won't, right? But regardless, what I'm saying about when I think about big businesses have the ability to create buyer certainty for us. And this is what we want to be creating for our clients. And it's funny because the online space has somehow made it a flex. If your DMs are flooded with people with 6,000 questions, and I'm like, why? That just means that your sales system, your content, your offer positioning are not creating the certainty for them. So now you have to fill the gap with your time. What about filling the gap with your time, which essentially means you're creating a system where you're a bottleneck to sales, or you're going to ultimately pay other people to handle that bottleneck? I never wanted that, and I don't want that. And what about big business says wow, I'm not creating enough certainty for people through my content, through my offer positioning, and through my sales system and my own frequency, that I now need to make up for those inefficiencies with my time. Not happening. This is not big business energy. And it's flexed on the internet because you're look busy. I'm this is not it. Do you guys want to be doing that in 10 years from now? I don't think so. Do you even want to be doing that 1 year from now? Do you want to do it today? Are we even thinking ahead and thinking about things like this? So I've made millions of dollars in the company with no sales calls, with no big audience, with and selling high ticket offers. I mean, I have offers from, $33 up to 100K, but I'm saying I was even selling my highest ticket spaces, call it between 3K, 50K, 3K to 50K to 100K without sales calls, without all these bells, without these things, right? But this is the first year where I feel like my DMs are as chill as they are. And I like that. I don't want to run, again, I'm not running an Instagram business. I need to be creating certainty for my buyer. So that's what we're going to be doing for you inside of category 1. Very importantly, teaching people to pay you. No matter where you are in your journey, I don't have to remind you how annoying it is when people are in your inbox about nothing or telling you how inspirational you are. Or, maybe you've been stuck at the same income level forever long and it's something you've been actively trying to move through. And you just already know there's a good amount of your audience who your work would actually be good for. In fact, you may even have people who are top of mind where you're like, why in the world has she not moved forward? Or you're newer, right? And you're like, okay, I don't need to take the journey that most new entrepreneurs take, which is just like following their intuition and doing God knows what and hoping that it leads to like $1 bazillion. Like money does not work like this, and especially does not work like this in 2025 in a market of people who know what they're doing, right? You need to know what you're doing too. So we want to teach your audience to pay you. We want to teach, and it's something I've just always done from the beginning. I don't focus on nurturing. I wasn't focusing on adding value. And I also wasn't just thinking that because I have an offer and talk about the offer or run a sale or have bonuses, that means people are going to buy. This is not how it works. We have to create buyer certainty for them. So we want to teach your audience to pay you. We want to teach them to, position your offers in a way where they become a priority and not just a consideration. We want to move you out of that energy of like, oh my God, I only make money when I launch, right? Where it's like heavy, heavy, heavy output in order for you to be paid. Because I promise you that overextension of your energy, right? It's like you are compensating for things that are missing other places in your business. If you are someone who doesn't only want to make money when you launch, some people do. I tend to attract clients who are not like that. I would like to make money all the time, but maybe have some offers that launch, some that don't. Whatever it is, your mix doesn't matter. You don't want to be reliant on this heavy, 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 heavy output in order to make continuous money. Hold on, because there was one other thing that I wanted to make sure I shared with you. Where's my little, y'all? Oh, okay. Oh, very important. I just want to make sure I didn't forget it. Okay, and positioning your offers for high caliber clients only, your luxury clients. Again, please don't get this all confused and think that like, oh my God, that means they have to have a certain amount of money or whatever it is. We're not leaving people out, but we need to actually be orienting our content, our offers, everything towards people who are actually going to invest their money, right? And who are actively looking to right now. So when you create certainty for your buyer through your content, through how you position your offers, right? And when I say content, I'm talking about what goes on your podcast, what goes in your social media, what goes in your emails, your thought leadership around your business and around your offers, right? Which also spills into offer positioning. When you have a sales system that very much supports this journey, an offer strategy that very much supports this journey, people are going to, they talk about like building trust, but that makes it sound like it's always this big, like 3 months long, 6 months long, a year, blah, blah. Sorry guys, time moves fast. If time is moving as fast as it is on the planet right now, why wouldn't that energy transfer to business? Like why in business would it be like, oh, well, time moves at the speed of light these days, but in your business, it's going to take you 6 to 12 months to build trust. I've always, like one of the things I was talking a lot about last year when I was selling How to Show on the internet is creating instant influence, right? So there's that ability for you, and you'll have access to How to Show on the internet if you come join us inside Category of One, because I'm only running Category of One inside the Revolution. But instant influences where people can like find you, see your content, read what you have to say, and move. Like it really just gets to be that easy. This is not like 2016 marketing. We are in 2025. Like let's Let's get there. Okay, so anyhow, category of 1, create buyer certainty with your audience through your offer strategy, your offer positioning, your content. What am I forgetting? Your sales system, right? And of course, the frequency of I make money all the time. These are the things that I'm going to be helping you with. I'm going to be teaching. We're going to be doing hot seat coaching calls. It's 6 weeks back to back. We are rotating times to accommodate different time zones because I have a very global community, just in case you're wondering about that. You will absolutely get your questions answered. This is not 200 people in the room and you don't get mentored. Like, I am hands-on with everyone. And so if you are really desiring more money with more ease in your company, to turn all of those lurkers into buyers, to stop feeling like you are wasting your time putting out 6,000 pieces of content and like hoping people will like convert one day, right? No matter whether you're established and we want to speed the engine up, or you're new and you want to like hit the, what is it called? Hit the ground running, right? And not be one of these early entrepreneurs who ends up going around for circles and years before you get there. Come join us inside category of 1. You'll be so happy that you did. And then of course, you're going to unlock the full revolution, which even after these 6 weeks, we will have twice monthly hot seat coaching calls. You have access to my entire premium product suite. So you're able to dive in based on what you need right now, do your thing, come to our calls for mentorship. You have access to the Secret Money membership. You have Revolution exclusive content. You get it all. You get it all. And if you're interested in my highest proximity mastermind, Fempire, I have a couple spaces enrolling. This is going to be for you. So the Revolution is really the membership mastermind to scale, relax millions, no matter where you're starting from. You could be new to business. You could be having 20K months, 30K months, 40K months, wherever you are. It's not quote unquote income dependent because the offers aren't oriented that way, right? With Fempire, I'm going to say we're definitely scaling 20K to 100K months, because you need to have familiarity with filling group space, the filling and selling group spaces. I want you to have a certain level of foundation, because for you to make that investment that also has a Telegram access to me, that also has our portal for feminine receiving and like Yum, and then also specific content for scaling 20K to 100K months, to make the most of your investment, to make the most of your time. I want you to have a certain foundation in place where it's like, hey, I've done these things before. Yes, I've had 10K months before, like whatever it is, so that we can take our time together and create big results. So it's very normal in this mastermind for women to double their income, triple their income. I've been running it since 2022. It's locked and loaded. So I know what is going to make sense for you to come into a room and then also have that high level of access to me in a very intimate space. Plus we have Telegram 4 days a week and all the things. And you also, don't worry, you get everything in the Revolution. You also get everything in Secret Money. You don't miss a thing. So for you just need to be in a certain place, right? You need to have a certain level of foundation so we can make the most of your investment. Okay. Oh, I forgot. So category 1, kicking off the 24th, right now during the Feels Like Summer sale, you can save 333 when you join us with code SUMMER333 at checkout for the Revolution. If you have credits from Enchanted Sales, Secret Money, Magnify, Manifest, Receive, you're able to apply those to the 333 off. That 333 off is closing the day that category 1 starts, which is a few days away. So do not miss it. For Fempire, again, my closest proximity mastermind, that is, what do we have going on? Oh, you guys can save 1,000 for Fempire. So please message me to chat about Fempire being a good space for you. I will give you all the details. If you've looked at the application, please note that the investment level on the application does not reflect this 1K off. So that's very important to note. And I have to check if other credits apply or not. I can't remember what I've said previously, but either way, shoot me a message. We have a couple spaces enrolling. My clients in Fempire are doing so well, closing 30K private clients, filling in close proximity masterminds for the first time. Some of them are running ads. We've got sales pages converting at very high rates. For one of my clients, we created a private podcast with her. It created 15 new sales on the back end with the strategy and structure that we put behind it. I am not talking about business coaches. I am talking about women in the relationship space and the trauma space, like doing deep and personal work. Even for the business coaches, you don't automatically make money because you're a business coach. But I want to use that example because sometimes people think it's easier to make money selling money. And I'm like, Girl, no. Trust me, lots of people have tried, right? We still got to have everything else working. So now is the time. It's category one, you get it totally for free. If I were running it separately, it would literally be a 5 to 8K investment. So yeah, make a move. You are going to love Alexa's story, and I will be back soon. Hi, Alexa.
Hi, Jocelyn.
Oh my gosh, this is such an amazing moment. We have so many cool things to celebrate, namely that your business is working now.
Woohoo.
And you have certainly put in the work for that to occur. And we are just coming off celebrating your first 5-figure cash week inside the revolution. And I just want to share this story because I have had it have occur many times in my career that women's businesses are, it's like not working, not working, not working, right? And you know it's for you and you don't want to give up, and it's easy for doubt to creep in and all these different things. And then I've had them come my way and things start working, which is what we want to be doing around here. So I'm excited to dive into that. Before we do, I just want to introduce you. So could you share just a little bit about who you are, what you do, and how you got on this path?
Yes, 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 yes. So I am an abundance activator and transformative healer, and I mainly work with moms. You know, all of us walk through, I think, with like this doubt, these feelings of like imposter syndrome or scarcity. But when you step into this role of motherhood, it like dials itself up tenfold. And like we get stuck in this whole like martyr or mother business, stay at home. And so my work is really opening up the mama to understand that she is worthy as she is and can step in to have her business and be a present mom. I left an extensive corporate career. I left my career I was 29, and most people retired from the position that I had. And it was like said in corporate, like, oh, Alexa's leaving to be a mom. And I was like, whoa, first of all, like, that's an admirable thing to do. And I love being a mother, but don't make an assumption that I'm leaving my career to just be a mom. I really knew in my soul that I was going to be the CEO of my own company. And I was going to do it a different way. I wasn't going to work weekends and holidays and like give myself to this corporate, corporate conglomerate and not be with my children. And so it's been a huge passion of mine to teach moms that yes, you are able to do both, absolutely, by rewriting the game.
And what were you doing before when you were in corporate?
So I have a background as a director of marketing and business development, and then I became a general manager of a shopping center. So I oversaw like every avenue that you could think of in mall world.
Mall world, so
Mall life.
American.
Yes.
Okay, amazing. And do you know your top three in astrology?
I do. I do. So I am a Virgo, I am a Capricorn rising, and a Libra moon.
Oh, I didn't know those things about
I
you.
know.
Love
But
it.
I
Do you?
did know, so tangent on this is that you're an Aries, okay? And
Yeah.
I have not come across a lot of Aries energy in my life, and
Oh.
my youngest at all. Like at all. Like there was not a lot of fire happen in my life, in my chart or anything like this. And then I gave birth to an Aries daughter, and then like you came in the realm, and I was just like listening to you, and I was like, okay, direct, straight to the point. Like I'm gonna like this. Obviously, the universe is dropping Aries around me, and so I have an intermediate understanding of astrology. I'm by no means an astrologer, but like I was like, okay, gravitated, like understand the assignment here.
I love that. And I
Yes.
have so little earth in my chart. I'm like, could we have a little more? Could we just have a little more? But I do have many Virgos in my family because my dad, my niece, my nephew, and my sister in law are all Virgos. So we have like all fire and then like all earth. And it's really interesting.
Very interesting. I love that dynamic though. That's a good.
Yeah. Okay, amazing. So, could you share kind of where you were at? Obviously, you've been in my world for a good amount of time now. How long has it been?
Oh, 2 years, maybe a little bit less, a year and a
Wow.
half. I know. It's been a while, which is a good thing.
Which is a good thing. We love
It's a
that.
great
Yes.
thing. So, yeah, I will share. And these are things I've heard you talk about on the podcast or, wherever they may be. I definitely fell into. And so it was like this look of perfectionism, which the Virgo can do just like on her own. Okay. It's like all about like, ooh, what's perfect, you know? And so, like, take aside just like social media, which you've talked about before. It's like, okay, what is behind the look? Like, is it making money? Is it monetizing? And so for me, that was a no. And I also
What
left
do you mean
my,
by that?
I was not, I was posting on social media and I was showing up to social media, but I wasn't monetizing through there. This is before I had met you.
Okay.
And also, I had come from this career that was, I did a lot of marketing, a lot of business development, but it was very much connected to a physical location, right?
Mm.
And so flipping that, like flipping out of like the whole corporate mindset and into your own business is a whole other journey to begin with. And then letting go of, I was just used to like driving people to physical space, and it's different in its own way when you're really like in an online space, in a virtual space. And so I was like, oh, I'm going to get an office. It's going to be in like this great part of Westchester. It's going to be above a yoga studio. Like it was a vibe. And people would walk in and be like, this, like, would cry. Like, this is on my vision board for my office. And I would kind of smile and be like, that's great. I don't know what the I'm doing. Like, the office looks great, but like, where's the meat of my business, you know? So like this look of perfectionism, whether it be in social media, whether it just be like in the way I like curated this office, I was like, where is the weight to this? And I wasn't receiving any business coaching. And then on top of it, and I've heard you talk about this before, I then invested in a social media team, which to me was just like, it was not worthy of it was a learning experience, but I could have used those dollars in a much different way. Because it brought me zero business. Because again, what was going on? Like, what was I driving people to? What was my pillars? What was my work? And so when I came into your world, it was very direct. I love the hot seat coaching calls. It's like you have like, all these things, and then you come to present them in front of you, and you're like, one answer, like one sentence answer. And it's like, oh yeah, okay. Oh, okay. Or I didn't even see it from that perspective, And so it's just about action. I can keep going on this unless you have a
Well,
question.
I'd love to hear kind of before we transition. So you had the office. So what were you selling? Like what was going on at that time? And
So
what did you think that you wanted to do at that time?
I I always knew that I was, let's say, a coach. I always knew that I was, a healer. I even in my role in corporate, I would have people open the door, sit in my office, and spill their entire life story, their marital problems, like their issues with their children, their issues with career, like, and I was their boss outside of that too. So I would like give them a session and then be like, okay, let's get moving. Like we got to go we got to go crush some other things that like it's in our actual day-to-day work. So I always knew I had this, people share everything with me on the airplane, like near death experiences all the time. Like I just know everything, from other people's experiences. And so I knew I had this gift. And, a long time ago, I went to life coaching school. And so I was calling myself a coach, but I really got stuck into like this barter thing where I was like, oh, well, I'll coach like, I'll say micro influencers like from around the area, and like, oh, you like promote what I'm doing, and I'll, give you this session or multi sessions. And so like it just wasn't monetizing. I was still coaching people, but I was giving away my worth in a sense. I was over giving.
Yeah. And this is typical and this is common no matter whether it show up with pricing or bartering or just all the ways that women can do this. And, I think it can come from a little bit of this like, oh, well, I'm giving to receive. Except we will tend very heavy on the giving part and not and there like there's some truth to it, right? But it'll go too far where it actually doesn't feel good, it doesn't feel empowered, it doesn't really feel that reciprocal. It's just kind of like basically I'm working for free is what is happening.
Exactly.
and calling it a business. And that is not a business, that is a hobby. And
Yes.
so of course, and I feel like you're at such a different place now. And I know that when you came into the cohort, was that the first time that you'd invested in my world, or was that
First time. Yeah, first
okay?
time. So I heard you on another podcast, and I'm all about astrology and, spiritual living and all this, but I didn't want to get into like a container where it's like, well, your sixth house, like that all loses me. I'm like, just tell me, open the portal for me right now. Just like open the portal for me now. I don't want to wait until the moon is in, strawberry. Like I just want to act now. And so that's like the energy that I got from you. And even, it's like, oh, I was thinking about doing my podcast for years. And you had gotten on to, I don't know if it was a hot seat coaching call or wherever it was, but you're like, there's nothing hard about it. It's not that hard. Like you just like record, like just do it. And so it's like, okay, yes, like that makes a ton of sense. Like just do it.
Well, and I'm very into this, and I think a lot of spiritual women get stuck in this, like, we just hear these messages and it's like, now's the season for going internal. Now's the season for this. Now's the season for that. And it starts to become to a point where like you haven't actually built, created, or received anything because we're always like waiting for a new season and we're like worried that like now is misaligned and like yada, yada, yada. And it's like when you actually, some of the most successful people in the world don't believe in any of these things.
Mhm.
And actually, I believe in them, right? And there's truth to them. But I feel like anything else in the world, it can go too far. And it tends to be that like we'll leverage spiritual information is kind of like a block or feel slowed down or be like, oh, I guess it's like not my time because my moon is here right now. And I love astrology. So that's like the catch 22. And there's so much where I'm like, yep, when I hear about myself or my journey, I'm like, it was written in the stars. But I didn't leverage like what is going on in my chart and all of these different things in order for me to get my business off the ground, in order for me to monetize it, in order for me to show up powerfully. What I leveraged is what are my strong points, right? Like I remember learning that my midheaven is in Leo and I was like, no wonder I hate having a corporate job. No wonder, right? There's this big feeling that I'm like here to be seen in a big way and you're midheaven. I always say midheaven. I think it's midhaven, whatever it is. Right. So I would learn these things about myself and I was like, oh, this makes sense. But everything that I was learning was pointing me towards here. Right. And it was like, let's get up and go. And like, you're going to have, like, I have big feelings during certain moons. For example, I know that like the water moons are going to affect me a lot. The fire ones aren't, all these things. But like, that's days. That's days. And it's maybe some things I'm feeling at nighttime. Like, these aren't reasons that we can't move in the company. And sometimes I feel like as spiritual women, the portal into this work is like, it's the human design, it's astrology. And I love those things. You guys will have heard many people talk about those things on my podcast. I just asked you your top 3, all of that. But it's like, we have to leverage those things to our benefit. And I think it's easy to kind of like stop there at the energetic side of the work, right? And kind of just be circling with it, and then not build what I call business intelligence, essentially money making mastery, to actually go out and monetize your purpose, which is what you said you wanted to do. And this is so many people's problem, right? And so for me, what I'm always saying is like, hey, the strategic part doesn't mean you've got a cold DM. You don't have to like be a bro marketer, et cetera, et cetera. We've got to get to what works for you. But we are the pillars, what's going to get there, like the content, the positioning, your offer strategy, your sales system. These are the things that are going to grow your company, supported by your energetics, your frequency, your relationship to money, your power, et cetera, et cetera. But we can't get like lost in the energetic sauce and just assume that like everything's just going to somehow like channel through. Like the number of women who've come my way, who've been in business for supposedly years, doing this for years, and I see their business and I'm like, there's no confusion as to why you're not making the money you want to make. This is like obvious and right in front of your face, but you are still distracted being in 6,000 energetic things and not actually learning how to scale your company. Like you cannot skip that. It's not just going to channel through you. It
Right.
isn't. Your offer may channel through you. What you stand for may channel through you. You may have a feeling, but then when it comes like, how am I going to put this in the world powerfully? How am I going to scale this? How am I going to really monetize it? Like, sometimes I'm like, guys, we got to wake up. Like, you're in a competitive market. There are people on the internet who know what they're doing, right? People, and it's not from a place of scarcity, it's just real life. So, and I always talk about being paid to be yourself, and that's a real thing, but we need some like bones and structure under that. And we can't just like create an offer and talk about it. Like, that's just only going to get you so far. And I feel like this is something, and then even the types of offers that we bring forward, like, doesn't make sense right now. And I feel like some of what we navigated in the cohort before you joined the revolution and you're where you are today was like, okay, cool. Is this thing that I've built right before your current offer that you're selling, like, does this actually make sense? Like, how is this going to work? And I'd love to hear about kind of like just getting to the journey of what did work, how that was for you, because I feel like you were always coming from a good place. You always really wanted to help people. You were always willing to do the work, but then it's like, okay, but what work are we doing and does it make sense?
100%. Yeah. So back to what you just said for a second is that all these things are great tools. Our astrology, our spirituality, all of these things are really great tools. But part of your work and part of my work is that there's a bridge in between. We have to bridge the esoteric and the energetic work into the ground, into the earth, because that's where we are here to incarnate here and have this human experience, you know? So it's really great to feel into all those things, but then how is that, how is that actually making positive change in your life and on the earth? And so that is the bridge that I do in my work, which I also know that you do in your work. And your next question, I was hiding. I was hiding because what I did is I invested a lot of money, a lot of time, and a lot of energy creating this community where I showcase other women, other mothers who are doctors and healers and teachers. And that is the truth. I created a whole program to help mothers create abundant lives in motherhood. And that's mind, body, soul. But really what was happening is I was like, oh, well, I'm going to use this person's voice. I didn't know this at the time, right? I was like, oh, this person, I have this person and I have that person, I have this person. But at the end of the day, it's like, okay, all that is great. And there's a time and a place for me to sell that. But first, I have to step onto the stage. First, I have to feel confident and grounded and secure in what it is, who I am, what it is that I'm selling, what I offer. And then later down the road, this might make sense. But I was frustrated at it, but I was like, oh, this is actually a teaching moment, a huge teaching moment for me. And it wasn't until I really took the horn, so to speak, and was like, okay, this is actually who I am. This is how I'm going to serve. And then it just was like, it flowed. It just was easy. It flowed very easy. Like there wasn't a whole ton of money, a whole ton of time put into it. And then I'm walking with my family on Mother's Day, and I just looked down at my phone. And it was like $2,000 came in, and I was like, "Oh, okay. This is how it's meant to feel. This is how the abundance flows." Like, okay, so yeah.
And so when you decided to come into the revolution, what was your decision point for that? Because that's when I feel like we really, I think you really started to wake up to like, okay, I need to build an offer that's actually oriented around me, right? And not hide behind these other people. We need something that you can actually monetize and make real money. Low ticket membership is usually not the best place to start in your business. And also people are going to want to hire you for you, right? And all these other people are amazing and they're amazing compliments, but we need to build your brand first. Right. And then we can see what you want to do from there. So I'd love to hear what brought you into the revolution. Obviously you'd had experience working with me prior, so of course you knew that you liked that, but you get my point.
Yes. So I think that it's something that you have definitely said before and just is the truth. Like if you're trying to accomplish something in your business or in your life, you have to be around people that have accomplished what you desire to accomplish. You cannot be in a room of people that have no even dream of, having a 6-figure month and being like, this is what I'm going to do. Everybody in the room is going to be like, are you nuts? Like that's not going to happen, And so then all of a sudden it's like, oh, you start to think that. And so I knew that for me, mentorship was so important for me to have access, to your teachings, access around other women that have done this, that are creating this, or the desire to create this. Your story is so just like memorable of like where you came from to where you are, and powerful. And so it's like, yeah, we could spend a lot of time, and I've done this in my business too, like asking other people advice who don't desire to even be a coach or have a spiritual business and don't desire to leave their corporate job and make X amount of money. And then it's like, oh, well, so you have to be around a space where people are doing those things, achieving those things, and desiring those things. And I knew that from not investing that in the years previous and investing in other things, that it was an important space for me to be in.
And then when it came down to, obviously there's many places to put your money on the internet, what made you desire to join the revolution versus, for example, the multitude of other options available?
So your just, I don't know, your voice, your directness, like it's just like, boom, this is it. Like, this is here, this is the path, this is what to do. And there was no, it's not like I was like even seeking this. You know what I mean? I wasn't even something that was necessarily like on my radar of like checking out other people and what their offerings are. It was just it's a knowing, like you just feel
Yeah.
called, like, yep, this is the right time, this is the door, step in. For
And
me,
I
that's
love
how
that.
direct it was. Yeah.
Because I feel like people get into a lot of like confusion, chaos, investing drama when we start being in that like searching energy. Or we're like, I did this and it's not working yet. Oh my God, maybe it's this. Maybe I need to do that. Maybe it's this. Maybe, and you go around in so many circles and then never build the foundation. I literally have had, I'm like, babe, we have been doing this for 5 years and you still don't know how to do this. And then come my way, I'm like, where were you putting your money? What were you doing? And it's not, I'm not like blaming my client. Obviously, I think a lot of people are teaching business without actually teaching it. And I have a real commitment because I'm like, what is going on? You spent all this money and you don't know how to write a sales page that converts. Like, we still don't know how to write emails that convert. Our social media is not converting, all these things, but you spent like $40,000. Like, on what?
Well, this is where this whole bridging of the gap comes from, because you appreciate, understand, and are of the spirited, energetic world. And then it's like, okay, that's great. Now, how is that then grounding itself into your business? How is that then grounding itself into the earth, And so a lot of times, spiritual women, mothers, spend so much time like here and are so truly gifted, right? Like
Yeah.
have true gifts. But then how is that like coming down and being, it's my, I guess my Virgo. It's like just like rooting into the earth, because this is where we chose to incarnate here. Like we can have all these gifts in the world, and also money. Like I'm in this whole era, and I have been for a long, long while, but like I love money. I love money, and I feel like money is like, especially when it's in the hands of conscious love, like think of how much good that does. Think of how many different people that supports, like the ripple that goes out. And so a lot of, spiritual women and mothers walk around with that, oh, like money is bad, or the husband handles all the finances. Like I saw a whole influencer who's like a yogi, like great. She did this like whole spoof, like reel about how like she's like, oh, I have to go check in with my CFO to see if I can like spend this amount of money. Oh, and it's like her husband, and she was like, oh, how much? Like she was like hiding like her like bags or wherever she went to, and it was like supposed to be funny, but I was like, this is actually perpetuating this whole story that like women aren't supposed to be in money, but it's about transforming that completely, and being like receptors to actually receiving. And my whole vision was like going to my kid's school and looking down at my phone and seeing like, boom, my Stripe account, and then like hugging my kids, being like, let's go home and like roll
Yeah.
dough, or like, or whatever it is that we're gonna do, But like, and so that is what my true dream and wish is for mothers and women out there, that they could like receive money in this totally different way.
Oh, I love that. And women, period. Women, period. Okay,
Yes.
so then let's talk about being inside the revolution, because this is
Yes.
where we built the new offer. We built a
Yes.
high ticket offer. We
Yes.
oriented around your genius. We definitely needed to get to your thought leadership, your message, your brand, scale, selling that offer, all of the different steps. Like we have gone through all the things when it comes to your offer strategy, how to get that offer full, your messaging, email marketing, social media, thought leadership, sales system, all the things, right? And they're
Yeah,
always
yeah.
evolving for where we are. But I'd love to hear how that's been for you, because I feel like that's when, once we were like got all of that in place, as every time that we do, this is when things really start to work. And obviously, like, as you would see, everybody doesn't have the same type of business. My clients are all scaling very different offers and very different niches, different offer models, all the different things. So it's definitely not a space where it's like, I just teach you how to do this one thing one way, and then you all go do that, and like hopefully it works for you. I don't know what to tell you. Like, I'm very like not into that style of business coaching, because it's only effective sometimes. And it's just not real. People aren't all the same. So I'd love to hear kind of how that's been for you, because obviously everything we did in that space did culminate into this first 5-figure week. And I also feel like your message is just so much more powerful and baked in and locked and loaded. And you did start your podcast, and you did do all of these things that you had just been like sitting on. So what was that wake up moment when you were like, okay, what am I doing? I'm hiding. And then how was it kind of in terms of what you've enjoyed and what's been helpful to you, or even challenging, where you're like, oh my God, that was something I really had to look at in our mentorship in order for you to get here and really actually be monetizing your company?
Yes, yes, yes. So I think that in the best of ways, all of it is challenging to extent, because it's expansive. So it's not meant to be like, oh, this is so easy. Like it gets to a point of ease, but like it's meant to actually grow us. And so we need to look into things and go, oh, like, is this actually going to expand me and teach me something? Then absolutely, like, it's worth it. And so all of it, comes with this bit of, growth, mental growth, spiritual growth, just like the entrepreneurial journey in general. But emails, I had an email list that I wasn't even using. And then like you're using your email list, and this is how, like, this is the messaging that you put in there, and it's like, oh, okay, like I definitely have shed and continuously shed the whole like people pleasing thing. And I remember when I first entered your world, we were like, okay, well, what is it that you do and who is it that you help? And I was like, well, I can actually do like pretty much anything. I could help anybody. And you're like, no, like let's funnel that down. Like, and that's also another way of like, no, you can't. No, you haven't had all these like, experiences, but it just is like another form of like people pleasing, of like spread too thin. So
Yeah.
like helping narrow that down and narrow that message down. And then that people pleasing thing comes up again, where it's like, oh, am I in somebody's inbox too much? Or like, oh, is this annoying to them? Or like, ooh, like, am I texting them? Is that annoying? And then it's like, you know what I mean? Like, I'm going to show up. If you don't want to be on my email list, you can remove yourself. This is not part of your energy. That's fine. But it's here to serve the person that is. And so really feeling confident with that was very important. And you're just an example of that. You're like, boom, like, here's the email. This is what the stats are. This sale is coming up in this amount of time. Like, so me like relearning and learning these things was super important. And there's another thing that, there's, so going back to what I was saying about marketing from a physical space, that was like my whole corporate career, to marketing in a virtual space. There's things that I just didn't know. And that is what we talked about with Birth Your Biz, and how I was like, oh, I'm going to like run this sale for like, I don't know, like, what did I say, 36 hours? And you were like, absolutely not. You're not. And you were like, no, you're like, just, that's like, you're going to, however long you told me, you're like, that, it's this period, then it's that period, then it's this period. And that really is something I didn't even know. Like, I thought like, oh, this is enough time, but like, you've been doing this for much longer. And so from your perspective, and it's like, no, actually, this would be a much better time frame. So it's things like that like I'm not aware of, coming into this space and in building and creating, that you have this aerial's view on, that you're like, no, this is actually a better path. Like, check that out, And I
And
remember
also for where you are in business. Because as you know, because I say it all the time, I'm like, Alexa, this can work if we're at this stage in the business. The audience is already wired like this. These things are already in place. This container is really well known. All, like, everything has context, right? And so it's not that there's a rule book, but it's like we have to bring the context in always of where you are in your company, how new is this offer, how established is this offer, how hot is your audience, like all these different things. You can always get the success, right? You, as you saw, but it's like how we take you there, because this is something else people do on the internet. They look at the outside of what people are doing and they don't understand the nuance behind what is making it work or not work. And quite frankly, you don't even know if it's working because you're on the outside, right? This is the benefit, or if it's just an experiment. And then she's like, I'm never doing that again. And you're like, oh, I saw so-and-so do that. I'm definitely going to do that, right? And so this is the benefit to me too of like being in this space, like the revolution, where you have this mentorship. And obviously we've been doing this for 6 years. There's been thousands of people through my world. I've had to build my own company. I've seen what works, what doesn't work across not just my business, but many others. It's like that context piece is often missing. And then we go out and do things and we're like, oh, like, why isn't this working? But thankfully you brought it up to me before you did it.
So it's funny because two parts. So you spoke on another podcast or something where you're like, doctors or attorneys, like they make a lot of money, but they like think about how much studying they have to do. So my husband is an attorney. And so like that was also a huge driving force inside of me, that it's like he is successful, he is great, like all these amazing things. He works his ass off, like insane hours from the moment I met him, and continuous on. And so there is a drive in me that's like, I absolutely deserve to receive a ton of money, but not work. It's not like it's like working less, because it's a different sort of work. Like it's an expansion, like I was saying, but I don't want to be sitting in an office for 12 hours a day. And like he does that, and like he's driving all around and going to New York City for court, like doing all these things. And so I'm like, I'm going to show him and the world a different way. Like this could be our life. And like, so that was a huge driving force inside of me. But going back to that, the sales period, or I was like, oh, it's going to be 36 hours. And I popped off the call one night and he was in the other room and I was like, oh, he was like, how'd this go? And I'm like, oh yeah. Jocelyn said like, that is way too short of a time frame. And he just looked at me and goes, that's worth the money right there to hear that feedback. He's like, because I can't get, like, he's like, I couldn't give you that. Nobody else that I know would be able to give me that feedback, right? And so he's like, that's worth it. Like, I'm like, yeah, that I agree.
And so that was a piece of it. And then what about in terms of refining your message and also building your offer, an offer that was actually going to sell? Because I feel like we did a lot of offer refinement and a lot of refining around your message. So moms wouldn't just be like, oh, Alexa's so great. Like, she's so inspirational. Like, oh my God, you're so amazing, which is what kind of wind up happening, but actually desire to pay you. Mm-hmm. And so how was that? Because I feel like you did commit a lot to that journey. And then also that's a lot of what we did in the mentorship was like, or we've been doing, right? Refining your offer and refining your messaging so that people desire to pay you. Mm-hmm, and don't just tell you you're amazing.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm, mm-hmm. So refining the message and really focusing in on mothers and business. And that is like I keep bringing up this theme of like bridge from like, esoteric to earth and like, money to womanhood, motherhood. And so tying those two things together and really coming into knowing that message was very crucial for me, because hanging out with me or like having a conversation with me, like I get DMs that people are like, oh, at the library, like things that you've said to me are very transformative. And I'm like, oh, like with my kid on my leg, and kids on their leg. But this is like, you've talked about this. People will invest in, their love life, their money life, like there's certain needs that we have as humans. And so when I really focus down on like wealth and motherhood, then it's like, oh, that is something that I will pay for guidance in, that I will pay for mentorship in, versus like, oh, I'll just feel better. I'll just feel good. So honing that message in was super important. And then the other thing that I'm kicking off next week, which I had never done before, and you had advised me to do, is it's like a low ticket, I guess, like, correct me if what I'm saying is incorrect, but like a low ticket virtual, experience. Then once people can experience me, it's like, oh, okay, now I know her energy. Now I see what I received in this small amount of time. Then Birth Your Biz would really make sense for me. And so like looking at those things as a funnel, as a system, as a rhythm, in a gentle way to say, it's like, yeah, okay. Some people are just going to pay full price and just jump into my world, but some people are going to need to know my energy a little bit more before they just do that. We're all at different spaces. And so I'm really excited to be hosting that next week. And that's not something that I would have really thought about or put into practice before our mentorship and our meetings.
And then also, it's not just that like you're selling, women and money, right? I do that too. We talk about it from very different ways. It's what I always say, the sticky part is your hot take, right? So I feel like what was happening before was like, moms do this, moms come do that. And I'm like, this is not enough. There's lots of women on the internet selling women in business, moms in business, et cetera, et cetera. But we had to get to like your hot take on the money conversation, your hot take on the business conversation, right? Your hot take on being a mom and having a company, because that's what makes the brand sticky. And that is what is missing from so many. I'm talking about thought leadership all the time. Join How to Share on the Internet if you're not in it. This, like, we can't get anywhere substantial without this in place. And I feel like once you really got that, then we were able to have the meaty conversations that tied to your offer. Go ahead.
The thought leadership part. Yes, that, because again, I guess this wants to come out a lot today. It's like that people pleasing version of me. Like I definitely was that person on Instagram where it was like, that's so lovely. Like, that's so great. Like, I'm gonna have a better day because you wrote that. And you're like, well, where's this going from there? And so slowly listening to your teachings and doing these things, I would be posting things and I would get messages that are like, hey, your content sounds different. Or like, hey, this really just hit. Or like, hey, and it's like, it was different. It's a different feeling than being like, oh, that's so cute.
You were just inspiring people forward before, and probably just speaking about topics from a very generic lens where it's like, yes, I can agree with you, but it's like, you haven't given me a reason to pay you still.
Yep.
And people will think, oh,
I brought in a little bit more fire since being in your world.
Are we surprised? Are we surprised? And then what about on the offer piece? Because I do feel like we really dialed in on that, where it's like, hey, we don't just like build an offer and put it on the internet, and just because you gave it a hot name and a pretty page, people are going to pay for it. Like, we really have to get to offers that people want to pay for, like that are also congruent with you and your message. And I feel like there was a lot of offer refinement to get to what you have now, which is the offer. And I think this is so cool for those of you too who are worried about stacking your calendar with private clients. And is that the only way? Alexa's first 5K week came from a group program, and she is not someone who's had 5 bazillion long-term private clients under your belt. Like, your business is quite new.
Yeah. Super important. And to me, it's what you had taught and led is like linking all of these things together. So it's like, oh, well, what's coming out of my podcast? Where am I driving people to? Well, what I'm speaking about on the podcast is going to go hand in hand with what my offer is, right? What my email says, like having an actual like funnel for my emails and like, what is the message that's going out there? So instead of having everything be fragmented,
like kind of this like random inspirational conversation, what's at the top of my mind on social media, on email, like, which is what a lot of people do. And they're like, I'm leading from my intuition. I'm like, you are demonetizing your business.
Yes. Yes. So it's like, make things easier, not just to make them easier, but also because like, that's what makes the most sense. And also like, we're inundated with messages from everywhere in life. And so if you're saying one thing in one place, one time, which is kind of like how I had approached it before. I was like, well, I said that this is what I was offering. Like, and like, I'm not having anybody knock on my door. Well, it's like, you have to keep kind of like hitting that alarm to be like, hey, this is what's happening. This is what's happening. And like, and you've talked about this before about how just people like read things differently, hear things differently, take in different things. Someone's going to be like really into the podcast and hearing your voice, and someone's just going to be like reading your emails. Like, you have to hit it from all different spaces and ways, and, kind of like, speak to them. speak to them.
And
Yeah.
not just be like, people hear that and they're like, okay, I'm just going to say, this is on sale, come join now. This is on sale, come join now. And as you know from the past, just telling people about the product is not enough for them to buy, right? Or it's like that messaging piece and the positioning piece has got to get there or nobody is moving, no matter how many times you tell them the thing is on sale or it's here or it's closing soon or it's starting tomorrow. Like those urgency creators are the cherry on top. They are not the reason people pay you.
That. Yes. Yes.
Because everyone's like,
Yes.
oh, I just need to say it more. And I'm like, yes, and right, for it to do something, we got like the meat and potatoes have got to be there.
The speaking to them, that's another aspect of my learning for sure, was like, okay, well, like what are they experiencing right now, and how are they going to even resonate with what it is that you're selling?
Yeah. From
Yeah.
their lens, because
Yeah.
you've heard me say this to so many people. I'm like, stop diagnosing people. They don't care. Right. We'll go like, I'm the expert. I know what's wrong. I know why this is happening. And you do. But if you can't market to people in a way that they resonate with based on their experience, their language, their quote unquote problems, their desires in the way that they really feel it, and also showcase them why you're the one, why your method for taking them there is superior to what they've done before, right? And all these different things we weave in to do that. If you can't do that, it won't, like, it doesn't land. Just telling people what the problem is and what the solution is not enough, because they've been sold to by every expert on the internet for ages now, right? And so it's like having that skill set to quote unquote live inside somebody's head, right? That we want to build, that really is like what ends up making your brand sticky to them.
And I will say that, like, I've definitely evolved and learned that, and I still have more evolution to do on
We
that,
all do, always
So,
and forever.
yeah, welcome to the human experience. So it's like, so here I am, up for learning and growing and on this wild journey.
And this is so cool. And so, for anyone who's considering the revolution, hasn't joined it lately, obviously by being in the revolution, you also have access to my full product suite. Like, what would you have to say to them? Because you're just such a walking. Oh, well, before, like, can we share the crescendo moment of how it felt? So it was so cool because you were just like so excited and you kept sharing in the Telegram chat. First, you got like a $2,000 sale, then $1,000 or 999 and 999 again and 999 again and 999 again. And it was like, I think it was around Mother's Day, right? And it was just so cool. And you were so excited. And like, how did it feel to be doing exactly what you set out to do, which is like actively be in your motherhood and then literally over Mother's Day weekends, right? Making that money like all at the same time and really like putting yourself out there and doing things in new ways that like I had mentored you around, but you'd never done before. And then to like really have it work.
The coolest ever. So awesome. Yeah, I think that, as you said, so poignant that it was on Mother's Day. I'm leaving brunch with my family. I like just looked down at my phone and it was like 2K that was there, and she had paid in full, and I had given an option to not pay in full, like, or not even use, like, she didn't even use the discount for it. And so I was like, all right, girl, here we go. Like, this is like, I received, thank you, thank you, thank you. And then after that, like you said, it just kind of kept coming in, kept coming in, kept coming in. And it's like, okay, this is the moment that I had envisioned, but also put in the practical steps to arrive at. And like, yes, this is possible. Yes, this is real and true, because look, it's happening right now. So it was absolutely like a huge celebration, a huge, like, I wouldn't even say door opening. I would say house liftoff of just like, yep, here we go. Like, this is it. So awesome, so cool. And yeah. And thank you, more please. That's what I say to that.
Yes, so exciting. And it's just the beginning. So
Yes.
for anyone who's on the fence about the revolution, hasn't joined it yet, what would you have to say to them?
I would say jump on in. Jump on in. As this whole conversation that you've heard, Jocelyn, I really appreciate how direct and straightforward, and like, that makes it simple in a sense of like, okay, boom, like, this is what to look at. And it's like, oh, and like that whole piece is huge, because if you're going in one direction and you just shift it like here, this is where it all could click, you know? And so I feel like that is what your teaching method is, that is what you deliver. And not only that, like there's a wealth of information for me to tap into. Like I was building out my low ticket sales page. You know, I didn't jump on a call with you, but I'm like, going back to the video, you know, pausing you, going back to my sales page, going back to what you had written, what you were talking about. And so it's like, okay, you're right here in the space with me, helping me create this and showing me a tool where it's so super effective that it's like, okay, it's not necessarily plug and play, as you were saying, because we're all in different spaces and creating different things, but there is a system to it. So that is super helpful. And then again, being in this space and around the women that you've mentored and coached that are like, you know, things are going off probably in our chat right now of like, I had my first client, or I just sold my first 10K, or, and it's like, oh, that's right. Like we get to do this and this gets to be a thing. So if you're feeling like your toes are like on the side of the pool, it's like just dive in. Like there's no better time to do it than now. And we just can't wait for everything to be perfectly aligned before you make a move. It's you have to make a move and then you figure it out from there.
Amazing. Thank you. And I agree. And I love it. And Enchanted Sales, one of my favorite offers. Isn't that like great? It's like, oh, I need to build a low ticket offer. I'm like, cool. Go dive into your training for low ticket offers that convert. Cool. Here's how to do the sales page. Great. Now bring it to me. Right.
Yes.
And like, let's refine it. Like, I want to give you the tools that use it just that as an example. In you know, how to share on the internet is all about content, right? Overflow is all about like, okay, I feel myself wobbling around with money. What do I want to do here? Like there's so many programs. Obviously my world is quite vast, but you have those resources to plug into. Then I'm going to help you refine it and help get it even tighter, right? And more effective along with your strategies, which is also Enchanted Sales, but like on the calls. And so
Yes.
that's really great to hear too, that you had that idea. And then you're like, cool, now I knew where to go, or I directed you on where to go, right? To bring it to life. So thank you so much, Alexa, for your time. And it's just been such a pleasure to be part of your journey so far, just getting started.
Yes.
So I know that there's going to be women who are interested in your worlds as well. So could you just share kind of the best places to get in touch with you and what you have going on in the company? And then obviously all links for Alexa will be in episode notes as well.
Yes. So if you're a mama or desire to be a mama, the best place to jump in is the Abundant Mother podcast. And also you can check out my website at alexa-oliveri.com and you will see some of my offerings, whether it be meditations to birth your biz and how to just receive more in motherhood and in work. That's what it's all about. Letting go of what's blocking, what's stuck, the guilt, the anxiety, and just saying like, okay, we're opening up now. Like this is a whole new wave and we deserve to have it all. And that is the truth.
Oh my God, so good. Changing the
Thank
world.
you. Thank you.
Thank you. Hi, gorgeous. I hope you enjoyed the show. I want to remind you, well, I never told you. So for the offers that I mentioned, that were, I think I talked about hottest on the internet. It came up in conversation with Alexa and Enchanted Sales. I put the links to both of those in episode notes, but very importantly, make sure to come join us inside the revolution, because when you join now, you're going to get category 1, the mastermind, completely free. This is where we are going to be creating buyer certainty in your business, buyer certainty. So we can get you out of the just awareness and consideration phase with all of these people. You know, they've been in that phase for too long, right? And actually have people buying you. Buying from you and buying from you a lot. I don't mean like, oh, you've never made $1, although you might be new. But what I'm saying is like buying from you more frequently, right? Regularly, making money every day. We need to create buyer certainty. When people are certain about our offers, they move. Like it's that simple. And sometimes we forget that in marketing and selling. When people are certain about the offer, they move. The end. You want the people who are right for your world to be 100% certain about your offer. You do not want to need to have gaps in that to where you're always trying to fill that gap on 6,000 sales calls and all these DM conversations with people who are halfway there. And basically, are you going to do that for the rest of your life? And then if you don't want to, you're going to pay other people to do that. Why don't you just actually put in the time to create the buyer certainty in your business so that's not even needed? That's not even needed. You can still offer your sales calls if you want to, but I think you get my point. Even then, how many more will you book if you've actually created buyer certainty and how you position your offers in your offer stack, in your content, right? In the thought leadership of your business and your overall content and in your sales system. When all of those things are working and very importantly, your frequency is like paid, done, obviously, of course. When all of that is there, right, it is impossible for you not to get paid. And let Alexa's story be living proof to that. And all the other women that have been on this show, I have a new website. I'm so proud of it. You can go look at the praise page. Of course, it's not every testimony I've ever received or we would be here all day, but it will give you such a good idea of the radical, wild financial wins and feel good wins and experiences that women have when they come working with me. No matter whether you're doing well and you're like, hey, I'm tired of just doing well. Can we get to extraordinary? You're having a hard time. You were once doing well. Now you're having a hard time. You're new and you're like, okay, I don't want to waste my time. No matter where you are on your journey, if you are at $0 and we're just getting started, or you're scaling 100K months, your girl has got your back. So come join us inside the revolution. You will be so happy that you did. Category of 1, the 6-week mastermind to support you in creating buyer certainty and being the only one your luxury clients are looking to pay. You know, the people who actually move money and resource themselves with ease, who show up for your containers with and take on the work with ease. We want to talk to those people and like only those people. And not ones who are going to be like that one day, the people who are there right now. Right? So we are going to be creating that throughout all aspects of your business. Category of 1 is going to be a mix of me teaching as well as hot seat coaching. I believe very passionately in supporting you in all the ways that your business is unique, that you are unique. And so everything's got to feel like you. There's no businesses built off of checklist, right? We want that outcome of creating buyer certainty, but we have to create it through the context of you, your energy, what you want to be doing. Like there, you can't just like force yourself through a quote unquote system and like make tons of money. But we need to be strategic around what is in alignment for you in order for it to not just work, but like work powerfully. So join us inside the revolution. You can use code SUMMER333 for a few more days to save 333 if you have credits available to you from Magnify, Manifest, Receive, Enchanted Sales, Secret Money. Send us an email at assistant@jocelynkellyreed.com or shoot me a DM so that we can add that to your credit. And literally, guys, like if you were to like everything that is inside the revolution, it would, and all the proximity support, because even after category of 1, we have our twice monthly hot seat coaching calls. And don't worry if you can't make the calls, you're always able to drop your question on the thread and I'll answer it if you're not there. Of course, if you're on the calls, we can come off mic. We are rotating our call times because we've got a global community and I attract a lot of women in Europe and Australia, Canada, the US, of course. So we are doing our best to accommodate the different time zones, but also guys, sometimes not convenient. And can you say you want to make $1 bazillion and show up? You know what I'm saying? Sometimes it's just what we need to do. I remember like being on calls at like 1 o'clock in the morning in the first year of my business because of like where my mentor lived. And I just wanted to like learn the thing. And it's like, you don't do it every day. It's like, you can lay in your bed and listen, you know? So anyhow, but we do like to rotate call times as well. And that is that. Oh, Fempire, my closest proximity mastermind. That is the only mastermind where you're also going to get Telegram support with me. And obviously those real-time shifts and the ability to plug in real time is wildly beneficial, which is why the most insane results come out of Empire. And they always have. Well, obviously all my other spaces too. But when your business is ready for it, right? Because if you have not built a group program, you don't have any familiarity with that, I do not recommend joining Fempire. Why? Because you don't need to be at that investment level when we don't have like the basics in place. I want to like super speed you, not be like, okay, this is how you build an offer. You know what I'm saying? Like that's not going to work well in that space. So I want you to just have the foundation, but I'm still happy to support you in building your offers. Let's just do that before you come into Fempire, right? So that you're actually ready, so that your investment makes sense. And that's when having the Telegram access, and we've just got, you know, all these moving pieces no matter whether you're like, hey, I really want to scale up this main offer, or you've got like a variety of offers or memberships or like whatever it is, I can help you scale anything that you sell on the internet or your business to business. Lots of experience there and with clients that way as well, meaning like if your client is actually a corporate client, and then obviously I've got the coaches, the healers, the service providers, outside of the corporate, selling to corporate, all the things. So if you look at, I'm trying to think, it's not of a sales page for Fembuyer. If you look at my Instagram highlights, you can see all of the incredible results that have come out of it over the years. This mastermind is just like time tested, result proven. Obviously, along with the revolution is just newer in my business. And for those of you, because you heard me talk about the cohort, if you're wondering why I don't run the cohort anymore, because that was originally my offer to support women specifically in scaling 10K months. The reason is because all of my new work was going into the revolution, and like the sales and marketing landscape changes quickly, right? And it was like I was always teaching these new things. I was always refining the offers that are there. And it felt like, and everything was still working in the cohort. Everyone's just having amazing results. But I didn't like this energy of like, oh, but you don't have access to like all of my programs and all of my teachings. Like, I can just teach you how to scale 10K months in the revolution. And you can do that with people who are also scaling 30K months, 50K months, whatever. Like, it doesn't matter. Like, the mastery of content, we're going to come back to over and over again for every new level. The mastery of our sales system, we're going to come back to again and again at every new level, right? The mastery of like our offers and like what that stack looks like and how we're strategically weaving things together, we're going to come back to over and over, right? So it's like, it's not like you learn one thing, check. It's like my angle in teaching in my programs is always like big. This is how we're building multi-million-dollar brands, but I meet you where you are, because even if you've made $1 million or whatever, lots of times like these certain pieces aren't there. So it's like, I'm going to teach from the foundation up. You're not going to feel like, oh my God, it's so beginner, I'm so bored. And if you're early, you're not going to feel like, oh my God, it's so advanced. Like, this is so crazy. I mean, some things you might be like, okay, I don't need to think about that right now. But I tell you stuff you don't need to think about right now, depending on where you are in business, versus where it's like, well, we really need to be thinking about it because you're here, right? So my intent, it's not like this is my content program to scale to 30K months. It doesn't even make sense, right? Like, this is my content program for you to be known, for you to be seen as a thought leader, for you to make multiple millions of dollars, being paid to be yourself where there is no competition. You are the competition. The end. Do you see how that doesn't necessarily tie to your income level in months? So I want everyone to have access to that style of my offers, right? Versus only focusing on taking you to 10K months, which I obviously know how to do. Hundreds of women went through the cohort, insane success stories over and over and over again, just like we're having in the revolution, right? I just wanted you to have access to everything that is up to date. And I didn't like that like push pull. So if you were previously interested in the cohort, you've seen all these clients talking about how it changed their life, just come join us inside the revolution. If you are past 10K months, come join us inside the revolution. It's not about your specific income level. It's about, you want to make relaxed millions the feminine way, backed with the energetics, backed with the powerful strategies, and the thought leading content that take you there. So that's my little explanation on that, because I don't know if I ever actually shared about it. Sometimes I move fast. I'm like, this is what's better for the business. This is what's better for my clients. Like, I don't like feeling like people should have this and they don't have it. Even if this container continues to yield insane results, we are streamlining. So that is what was behind that. So anyway, for Fempire right now, you can save $1,000 when you join us, 6 or 12 months. Shoot me a DM. I'll give you all the details. And also for Fempire, you're able to join on an extended payment plan and start at a future date. Technically, you can do that with Revolution as well. But why? You know what I mean? You're getting like an insane price. There's over literally $40,000 from all the content and the calls that you have access to. That is the value. Like, were you to have purchased every single thing separately, does not make any sense. For a fraction of that price, just come into the revolution. And also because I'd love to have you there for a category of one. You will have access to the hot seat coaching calls for any calls you cannot be on. You will be able to leave questions and I will answer them for any calls you cannot be on. And for calls that you are on, you can come off mic and we'll do hot seat coaching. So there is just, guys, no reason. Stop just listening for free. Come get what you need so we can like get you paid consistently, and not just paid, but you actually love your company and how you're running it, because we just don't have time to be tired in business, under receiving in business, confused in business. You know how draining it is when you're just like, oh my God, I keep trying at this. I keep trying at this. Like, what is this? Blah, blah. Let's just end it. Let's just end it. Let's just be like vibing. We want to be vibing, receiving, having fun. So I love you so much. All of the links are in show notes. Check out my new website. It's really beautiful. You can check out, I love my praise page where I'm like, oh my God, all these ladies. So anyhow, and there's a bunch of stories. Actually, some of them are from the Women in Fempire. There's episode notes on the bottom, not episode notes, client interviews on the bottom of that sales page until one day I create a sales page for Fempire, but I haven't. I've had it since 2022 and there's no sales page. Shows you how powerful that space is because it's just been the best. And then of course we have an enrollment page for the Revolution. You just heard Alexa's amazing story inside the Revolution, which is why I did not get as deep into telling you why it's just so phenomenal because you just heard from someone else why it's so phenomenal. But truly, you can't lose. You can't lose. If you are a spiritual human and you want to make tons of money and you want to feel really good and congruent with your values and congruent with yourself, and you actually care about having ease and you don't just want to like grind until you get there and you want to be moving smart, receiving as much as possible, really being super time efficient, not in your productivity, but what you choose to focus on when, and be really masterful at business because entrepreneurship is, sometimes challenging, but like ultimately highly rewarding and fun, then you want to come join the Revolution or Fempire. So if you need some support in choosing which one, feel free to send me a DM or you can email my team at assistant@jocelynkellyreid.com. Thank you so much for being here. And I love you so much and cannot wait to see you on a call. Bye.